Good evening and welcome to the May 25th, 2017 edition of FRC Media News. I'm Keith Tebow. This week we offer highlights of Fall River's proposed fiscal year 2018 budget. We have reaction from the school superintendent on the school committee vote to approve its financial package. And we also provide details about a dementia-friendly program being implemented within the city of Fall River. But first, let's check out the news headlines of the week. We bring in, as we do every week, Will Richmond, the digital news editor at the Fall River Herald News, doing a hybrid this week. We see his face, but his audio is over the phone. Will, how are you?
I'm good, Keith. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Let's get right to the top story. We touched upon this a little bit last week. Mayor Correa this week officially unveiling his proposed fiscal year 2018 city spending plan. The spending plan over $280 million. And it calls for some increases in fees and a 2.5% tax increase, which is the highest allowable by state law. And during his press conference this week, the mayor also told us that the budget for this year is similar to the current fiscal year budget. It's a zero-based budget and also does not rely on any free cash a balance that has been kept over the city over the past few years. Let's run that clip.
We wanted to prove to every single citizen in Fall River that yes, your government can give you high quality services, can give you a great education, can give you more police and more firemen and clean up our city with less taxes, with less fees, and managing your money in a more fiscally responsible, conservative way. So the past practices of literally taking, as you're going to see illustrated by, I believe, the chart here to my left, the past practice of taking free cash, that's money that's in stabilization, essentially the city's savings account, taking that money from a stabilization account and plugging budgetary holes. It actually was to, what do we call it, Mary? It was to balance the budget. So to balance the budget just several years back, before this administration took over, we were using free cash, city reserve money, to just get by. In those same years, we were seeing pink slips for our teachers. We were seeing proposed layoffs in our fire department and our police departments. We were decreasing services and increasing taxes and creating new fees. 2 years later, after last year's budget and this year's budget, you see a stronger Fall River fiscally, in terms of manpower in our public safety departments, and a direction for the school department that I think is unprecedented in the city of Fall River. So we are very proud of this year's budget, and we will let you criticize it. We will let you be the ultimate deciders on if it becomes a great budget. I think it will, but we'll see what happens.
Well, the mayor seems extremely confident in the role he has played and his administration has played in putting this budget together. And also, it's relatively early. The city council actually got a copy of it last week, and it gives them almost 6 weeks to look over the spending plan.
Yeah, so certainly, on the face of it, it appears to be a pretty strong budget. It tackles all of the important facets. As was mentioned, education is seeing a bump in funding. He's also making some funding commitments to public safety with the addition of personnel in both the police and fire departments. So there are some positives in there as well. As you mentioned, there is the hope to not touch the free cash, though already the city council is asking about the possibility of taking $500,000 from there to shore up fire departments in the city. So we'll see where that part of the discussion goes. But for the early part, it looks like a pretty good budget. We'll see what happens as the city council starts picking it apart now.
Any reference at all from the mayor as to the future of the purple bags and the recycling issues here in Fall River? He had mentioned in the past that he's been wanting to look to get rid of the purple bags and while still improving recycling.
Yeah, he did say that the purple bags and the Pay As You Throw program will remain in effect for the upcoming fiscal year. I think that's probably one of the methods, revenue sources that he's been able to tap into to help fund these new initiatives and these funding bumps that we're seeing. So that will remain in place, but he did maintain the commitment that there'll be no return to the trash fee that existed previously, the per household unit trash fee of the past.
Looking at other aspects of the budget, the mayor is looking to increase staffing within city government government by some 21 people this coming year. We talked already about that the mayor is proposing a 2.5% tax increase, and he's also looking at the stability within city finances in that 7 of the 9 municipal union contracts that the city oversees has been settled, and I guess lend some more stability to the formation of this budget. Also this week, speaking of budgets, part of the mayor's plan is a now school committee approved $141.3 million school committee budget. And that as well, at least in terms of the school committee, again, the city council still has to look at the budget proposed by the mayor, but the school committee seemed to have little problems with Superintendent Matt Malone's school budget for this year.
Yes, certainly that budget passed with ease earlier this week as well. Not surprising considering they were getting a bit more than they had initially asked for. Mm-hmm. And, in past years, as we saw at budget hearings, there'd be people lining up, teachers, students of certain programs, making their case not, to avoid cuts, to avoid program cuts, teacher layoffs, and that sort of thing. None of that this year was needed with that extra funding, so that budget will now go forward to the city council as part of the full budget package.
All right, we'll have more on the mayor's budget coming up later on here at FRC Media News. One other story I wanted to go over with you, Will, is a story that actually just broke today, and it has to do with drug trafficking in our region. Some 21 Fall River residents were charged today in a massive heroin trafficking ring that actually was associated out of Rhode Island. But if you go and see the story at the Herald News, there are approximately 30 total people that were arrested today and rounded up. 21 of those from Fall River. That puts up a red flag in my mind as to the severity of the addiction problem here in Fall River, where 21 of these people were either dealing or had some sort of input in this drug ring within the region.
Yeah, so certainly it was pretty expansive in the area. In addition to the 21 from Fall River, there were people from Somerset, Swansea, Westport, Tiverton that were arrested as well. It appears that drugs were coming into Providence, mainly heroin. A group in heroin was then repackaging it, cutting it with fentanyl, and people from this area were then going to Providence to purchase it and bring it back to Fall River and the surrounding area to sell. And in fact, basically there was also being sold at an amount 3 times higher than what was being purchased for in Providence. So, we're actually working now. Our crime reporter, Brian Fraga, is talking with people about what kind of effect this might have on the drug situation here in Fall River, whether we'll expect to see more arrests, could this lead to an increase in crime? Will it drive up the price of cost as supply goes down for a little while? So we're kind of trying to sort all that out now as we see this massive bust take place. Right,
and that just, again, taking place today in Rhode Island. All right, Will, what's coming up at the Herald over the next few days?
Sure, we're going to continue with our new job series and trying to take a look at just how unemployment figures are figured out, as well as we've got an inside tour of the work being done at St. Anne's Hospital. So I'll catch everyone up on what's happening over there.
All right, Will, sounds great. Have a nice long weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, you too, Keith.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Fall River Career Center. Laboratory Assistant. Phillips Lighting, located at 631 Airport Road, is in need of a full-time laboratory assistant, responsible for assisting technicians to complete tests of thermal, electrical, and mechanical properties. Job number 899-5285. Associate Universal Banker. Webster Bank, located at 1450 Plymouth Avenue, is seeking a full-time Associate Universal Banker with an understanding of personal finances and budgeting concepts to deliver sales solutions, service, and transactions to all customers. Job number 899-9794. Dental Assistant. Cool Smiles, located at 933 Pleasant Street, is looking for a part-time dental assistant to provide support to the office staff and assist the professional dental staff with treatment and care to patients. Job number 899-9826. STAR, a nonprofit healthcare and social services agency located at 386 Stanley Street, is looking to fulfill the following positions: toxicology specialist receptionist, job number 899-6106. Kitchen staff, job number 899-6111. Licensed practical nurse, job number 899-6097. Accounting office assistant, job number 899-6114. For more information on these or other positions, visit FRCmedianews.org or call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. As already discussed with Will Richmond, Fall River Mayor Jaziel Correa officially unveiled his proposed budget for fiscal year 2018 this week. Correa applauded the portion of the spending plan that focused on public safety.
This budget builds upon the great things we've done in the last year. So our fire department has seen an unprecedented amount of support in terms of new equipment, whether that's fire trucks, whether that's equipment, actual gear, whether that's washers and dryers, so that those individuals that are fighting fires don't go home to their families and then 20 years from now they find out that they have these cancers from carcinogens that they get from these buildings. That was important. So we made all those capital investments this year a priority, and we're going to continue to prioritize the safety and lives of the men and women that keep our citizens safe every single day. But in terms of this actual budget, it doubles down on public safety in a way that has not been seen in a number of years. In fact, we've seen the reduction or the proposed reduction of staffing levels in both our police and fire department since 2008, and in this particular budget, so that's almost a decade, right? This is the 18 budget, so you're looking at 2008 was the last time that I think we saw some of the numbers that we're trying to achieve or trying to get to. So in terms of police, we're putting 7 new patrolmen on the street. We have the chief here. We're going to have 7 new patrolmen on the street. We're going to have an increase of 2 to 3. We're still kind of negotiating on a third, but I think we're going to have 3 new police officers actually added to the force. But we're also being creative in this budget, right? So we're re-diverting some of the police officers that are not on the streets today back to the streets to actually increase street presence of police officers in our community.
In addition, the school department portion, which was approved by a unanimous vote by the school committee this week, brings with it good news for teachers.
And I think it's important to say here, teachers are not getting pink slips. They're not going home this summer, which has been the past practice, with pink slips, not knowing if they're going to have a job when they get back from the summer. And that's a big problem that we solved this year, and it's one that can't be short-sailed because it's really important. If you're a teacher and you don't know that you have a guaranteed job in September, you're going to look for another job. You're going to look for a job in Newton, Massachusetts, or Newburyport, or whatever, Wellesley. And we're losing great teachers through those bad fiscal practices of the past. That's gone in this budget. No teachers getting a pink slip. They'll all be returning if they choose, and I hope that they do, in September. So we're really proud of our school budget this year, and we're going to be reducing classroom sizes and delivering quality services to our students.
Fall River School Superintendent Matt Malone agrees with the mayor's enthusiasm.
What I'm excited about is it reduces class size. It gets at adding additional technologies and additional supports, particularly meet the needs of our most challenging students. So there's investments for ELL, for SPED, for social emotional learning. I'm excited. I think this is going to be a great year. It's been a great process, and I want to thank my team, all the principals and the site level teams and my central office team for working so hard. Essentially we nailed and delivered a zero-based budget in a short amount of time with no background and opportunity to have done it before, but we learned it and studied it, and then we delivered it.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here we have Tammy Faye Barker. You heard right. You can just call her Tammy Faye too. She responds to both. She's a 5-year-old beagle. Really sweet girl, as you can tell. She loves being with people. In typical beagle fashion, though, she's gonna give your whole house a good sniff over. Very curious dog, any kind of hound, but very, very sweet, isn't she? I know. She just kind of melts when you start to pet her. She can be playful when you work her up, but like with a lot of dogs, she just really likes to be around with people. So if you want to spend some time with her, we'd be more than happy to have you spend some time with her. Hopefully a long, long time. So come on down and meet her. We're at 300 Linwood Street, Fall River, Massachusetts, and we are Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
This is Razzle. This is one of my very special projects. Razzle is a mixed Maine Coon. So we don't know what mixture he is, but as you can see, he looks a little bit like a lion. When he came here, he was extremely matted. He's been with us since the 13th, and as you can see, he's got most of his stuff shaved off. But the stuff here is when it grows back, this is what he's gonna look like. He does need somebody new who's just gonna go a little bit slower. So he is here at Forever Paws, and we are at 300 Linwood Street, and we are in Fall River, Massachusetts, and his name is Razzle. So he is 6 years old, and hopefully somebody will come and grab him.
An urban renewal design proposal was unveiled at a news conference this week that will give the waterfront and downtown areas in Fall River a facelift while also connecting the two. The event was held at the Atrium and Government Center, where photographs and descriptions of the two proposed projects were available for public viewing. The Boston-based architectural firm Harriman was hired to work on the design phases of the project. Senior urban planner Emily Innes offered insight into what the proposed projects are all about.
So an urban renewal plan now is not about the wholesale clearance it used to be. This is about giving the Fall River Redevelopment Authority the tools that it needs for strategic investments in an area that then encourage private investments. So it helps give them the regulatory tools, it helps give them the ability to acquire parcels, but it also helps give them the vision that they can then use in concert with other city organizations, city boards, to ensure that what happens in these two areas is consistent with what we've heard from the public over this process. And what's so interesting about doing two areas simultaneously is that they each have their own identity, and we've been at great pains to think about how each place should remain different while working together.
The Redevelopment Authority is overseeing the funding of the project. Chairperson Bill Kenny explains how the money was raised to pay for the consulting firm.
Land sales. We do own land, and a large part of the money has come from the sale of the property to Amazon. So that's been a real, made a real difference to our ability to finance things like this. And there have been some other land sales over the past couple of years.
The photographs and descriptions will be available for viewing in the atrium of the Government Center for the next 2 weeks. Our program, sponsored by Bristol County Elder Services in Fall River, consists of volunteers that will train employees in various business settings about how to better serve dementia-stricken customers. Bristol Elder Services CEO Nancy Munson explains that the managers of the participating businesses have agreed to allow their employees to take the necessary time to offer excellent customer care to those clients who suffer from dementia-related health concerns. FRCMedia News asked Munson what tips are being offered.
Common sense things. I think the difference between just knowing those common sense things, what we're trying to do when we work with people is to say, it's your gut instinct to go over to the person and maybe touch them on the shoulder and say, can I help you? Because the business management is saying it's okay to take the time with the customer, we are giving permission to the workers, the frontline workers, to take the time that they need to do the things that come naturally with them. Go over to the person, look them in the eye, don't come up behind them. If they seem to be confused, try to figure out the words that they're missing try to gesture. If they seem to be looking for a pen, for example, try to just hand them a pen. Don't jump in and fill in their sentences, but just maybe get them to a quieter place if they seem to be becoming aggressive, to bring things down. Always talk in a calm, simple voice.
It's Memorial Day weekend this weekend, and representatives at Battleship Cove in Fall River are welcoming tourists and residents alike to enjoy its Life in the Day of a Sailor's program, which involves 4 self-guided tours around the USS Battleship, Massachusetts. Executive Director John McDonough explains the 4 interactive programs.
Well, we have a couple of interactive sort of high-tech opportunities for people to engage with, listen to, see actual veterans and sailors from this ship, and they relate to our visitors exactly what they felt and what it was like. So we have that. We have, I think, a very compelling orientation film that talks about the ship and its coming to Fall River, and in doing so, then sets up for the visitor the 4 self-guided tours that we've created. So depending on which tour you want, and some people take all 4, it takes you through various parts of the ship, various levels of difficulty, various approaches, you might say, to who was doing what where on board the ship.
And that'll do it for this edition of FRC Media News. You can catch FRC Media News Thursdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. and online via our website 24/7 at frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRC Media News, have a great long weekend. I'm Keith Tebow. We'll see you next Thursday.